What's up, everyone, and welcome back to episode 34 of the Ball Talk Pod. Bit of a bummer of a recap pod, excuse me, was in Paycom tonight to watch the Thunder lose game one of the Western Conference semifinals to the Denver Nuggets by a score of 121-119 in a game that the Thunder had a 14-point lead with about 4 or 5 minutes left in the fourth quarter. Chris is getting back from the game. We'll see if he's able to hop on, but with it being so late, wanted to hop on here and give some of my thoughts and where I think this game might have gone wrong and what to look for going forward. Based on Twitter and honestly the silence of the fans, it's probably the quietest I've ever heard Paycom Center and the fans after a game. This series is not over. It feels like it. It definitely feels like it with the poor execution of the late game situations. I think there were things throughout the game. You know, it's never one thing, but there are specific things late that people are going to point to. Want to start from the beginning of the game, though. First quarter, Thunder come out, haven't played in 9 days. Denver's 48 hours removed from winning a game 7 against the Clippers. Thunder come out and they're up 1 at the end of the first quarter, 27-26. I think Shai had 14 in that first quarter. He looked like Shai. He looked like normal Shai. He was getting to his spots. He ended up with a fantastic line, and that all started in the fourth. He didn't have a true Shai game, even with that fantastic line. But in that first quarter, Shai's generating shots, and I think I tweeted out during the game, the main takeaway in that first quarter was the Thunder are winning. Good news, Shai's found his rhythm. Bad news, it feels like everybody else has lost theirs. The Thunder started 0 of 10 from 3 in that quarter on wide open looks. I mean, I don't have the synergy numbers in front of me or anything like that in terms of if they were deemed truly open, but they were good looks. And Denver, they weren't like that much better. I don't know. I don't have their percentage exactly in front of me. They played good enough to lead after one quarter, shooting 0 of 10 from 3, which was a win, 100% a win. You look at it and you start to think, was that because of the 9 days of rest? You know, the gap between games. Well, we'll never know. It could have been playoff nerves. I think some of them were. You could tell several of the threes were rushed. They looked uncomfortable taking them. And it's funny how many more air balls you see, specifically from Dub, unfortunately, which we'll get into him later. Second quarter, things look good. Jokic comes out, and I haven't even touched on him yet. Jokic comes out. He comes out of the game. Dub and that lineup did their job, extended the lead. I don't have the exact number in front of me. Again, it's kind of a whirlwind of an evening. Thunder are up 10 going into half. They went 7 of 14 in the second quarter. So you're starting to think, okay, they've busted out of that rust, and it's time to cook. Up 10 going into the second half. Interestingly enough, Mark switches up the starting lineup for the second half. He sits Hartenstein, starts Caruso, who played like a madman tonight. Caruso was, I believe, even above Shai, the best player for the Thunder tonight. I think a lot of that had to do with Hartenstein and Chet each having 3 fouls, and you're dealing with Jokic. You didn't want to get either of those guys a 4th or 5th foul early in the third, because if Chet or Hartenstein, if they would have picked up 4 quickly, they're going to get yanked for the other guy. And we've talked about how we kind of think that the Chet at the 5 lineup is we think it's the Thunder's best lineup. So I get why he did it. And it's kind of funny because the very first play of the second half, Caruso steals the ball and goes and puts it in to extend it to 12. Throughout the third quarter, the Thunder played fine. And in the playoffs, fine is not good enough. They were up. Let's see if I can find it real quick. Let's see. I'm trying to see what the score was going into the fourth. I believe it was like an 8-point game. And the whole time, it felt like it should be way more. Like I was sitting with my buddy Alex, and even at halftime when we were up 10, it was like, I'll take being up 10, especially after the tough start in terms of shooting. But Denver was turning the ball over at a crazy rate, and we missed shots that we should have made, especially if you want to be a championship team. And so it felt like it should be a 15 to 20 point game, which honestly, that was the expectation going into the game with the long layoff by Denver. Let's see. Yeah. Going into the fourth, the Thunder were up 5, which did not feel good. Jokic only sat for the first 2 minutes of the fourth quarter. In that fourth quarter, there's a reason we're recording this after midnight, after an 8:30 tip Central Time. There are several things that went wrong. One of the things that was very frustrating as a fan was all the stoppages. That was such a choppy game in the fourth quarter. Couple of challenges. Jokic got called for a flagrant with 6 minutes left where he elbowed Lou Dort in the head. It was very much a flagrant. Jokic went and checked on him. All was good, but he just wound up and hit Jokic in the head, or hit Dort in the head. What Jokic did tonight to win this game, even with the less than 2 days of layoff, or the less than 2 days since the last game, plus a hyped up Oklahoma City team, a young team, a team that had kind of started building momentum. I mean, the Thunder, Shea hits an and 1-3, Dub had hit a 3. Caruso was great tonight. He went, let me see, where's his 3-pointers? He was 5 of 9 tonight, hit very timely threes. He hit 2 of the first 4. Jokic, with 6 minutes left, gets his 5th foul and uses the rest of that time to pull off what I would consider as the most gut-wrenching loss in Thunder history since Game 6 of the 2016 Western Conference Finals. That is not a game that the Thunder should have lost. His stat line, absurdly, was 42 points, 22 rebounds, 6 assists. He wasn't dishing it like he normally does. It wasn't a triple-double. But one of the huge reasons why they got into that game after being down 14 plus was offensive rebounds. Jokic could just get whatever he wanted, and rightfully so. I feel like Paycom, I'm backing them here. He got free throw merchant chance, and that's all he was looking to do. And especially in a game where it's the second game you've played, or excuse me, it's 2 days since your last game 7. He's exhausted. You could tell at times he was very exhausted. So it made sense that he's like, I'm just going to try to get fouled so I don't have to go through everything. And the refs played into that. The refs are not the reason the Thunder lost this game. But Jokic knew how to play with them. And I felt like there were several fouls that were game 83 of the regular season fouls. Those aren't playoff fouls. They always talk about how Shea was never going to get rid of, or he was going to be a free throw merchant in the regular season and not get those calls in the playoffs, therefore not being as effective. Jokic tonight was exactly how everyone talked about Shea. And he got him. And the problem is the Thunder got in the bonus so early in the fourth quarter. Jokic was there was a couple times he'd get fouled on a rebound or trying to bring it up the court, and he's going to the free throw line, getting fouled 80 feet from the basket. Some of that's discipline, and some of it felt like a little ticky-tacky. 2 of the bigger moments of the game in that fourth quarter, Thunder are starting to stretch a lead. I think it was about 8 or 10 at this time. I don't have it directly in front of me. We get a run out. Shea passes the ball up to Chet. Jokic is the only one back. Jokic fouls Chet on the arm. Chet goes to dunk it. He back irons it. They don't call a foul. Because Chet, according to the refs, grabbed the rim or the net and shook it a little bit, they called it offensive goaltending, even though the ball shot out of bounds. The biggest thing in this is that Mark still had 1 challenge. Because it was offensive goaltending, he was not able to challenge that call. You cannot challenge goaltending. If they had not called goaltending and just done an out of bounds, Mark could have called to challenge the out of bounds call. And then what he's been so good about is try to find a proximity foul. He's not able to challenge it. It would have been Jokic's 6th foul. Chet is going to the line for 2 points. Jokic is gone. It's kind of funny how this worked out, and I thought of it in the moment. In the game the Thunder won in Paycom back in March, game 1 of that doubleheader, Chet had 5 fouls, was playing good. He hits Russ in the face on the defensive end with about 5 minutes left. They don't see it. Chet, like Russ is on the ground and you think he flopped. He got hit in the face. It was incidental, but it would have been a foul. That went the other way for 2 points and the game was flipped. And that just didn't go the Thunder's way tonight. I don't think it was a true goaltending, but it's what they called. And I mean, I get why they called it. I think you could have called it either way and defended it, but I don't agree with it. So then Jokic gets to play the last 5 or so minutes in a game that the Thunder would have run away with if Jokic is not on the court. The next decision, specifically about challenges, Shea is trying to draw a foul. I don't remember the play exactly. He was kind of, running to the free throw line, trying to get fouled with a jump shot. I don't know if he got fouled or not because everything was so stressed towards what happened afterwards. In that moment, Shea kind of grabbed Jokic's arm for the rebound. It didn't really impact the play that the foul was called on. Jokic goes to throw a baseball pass, but kind of does this little, when you mess with kids and you're like, oh, I'm going to throw it to you, and you snap it back. He kind of grabs Shea with his left arm. Mark wants to challenge it immediately, or at least before, in the time frame he's allocated to challenge. Shea's begging him not to. Mainly because I think it wasn't a foul that would have impacted the game substantially. But 2, you just don't have a challenge left for the last 5 minutes of the game. It looks like we got Chris joining us tonight. There he is. Welcome to the podcast, Chris.
What's up, YouTube?
Just talking through.
I know this isn't YouTube, by the way.
We're just talking about how the Thunder season's over. And there's why even play the rest of the series? But more specifically, I was just talking about the 2 plays with challenges in the fourth quarter. The one that we couldn't challenge, which was the offensive goaltending that would have been Jokic's 6th foul that Mark used or couldn't use. And then also following it up with when he did challenge, Shea asked him not to. And they got the proximity foul that Mark is so good at getting. So that stuff just did not go the Thunder's way. Moving into the fourth quarter, or late in the fourth quarter, the Thunder go on at least a bit of a run. And Chris, I don't know about you, but they got up 14 with 4 minutes. And especially with what everyone thinks is a tired Denver team, we're ready for game 2. Twitter's already talking about Denver has to try to steal game 2.
Can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay. Yeah, it kind of feels like the Thunder have to steal game 2 in Paycom now. I felt very confident in the team 14 up, but we just kept them in the game for a long time. And I don't know what you've already talked about, but
I just kind of walked through the game.
There was a lot of foul calls that kind of walked Denver to the line. 94 feet from the basket, it felt like. That happened in the late in the fourth quarter, where they were able to bring the game back into reach, obviously, and then win the game with that Aaron Gordon 3, which rattled in. So,
yeah, we haven't even gotten to the ending. I just gave the final score and started from the top.
Okay. Yeah, just a somber mood on the car ride home. Somber mood walking out. There was a couple Oklahoma City fans yelling, trying to be start a chant, and everyone was just shut up.
Yeah, I think they were drunk, and they were trying to push for people to still do the OKC chant and all that stuff. It's buddy, now's not the time. I guess going back to, and then I can get you caught up, and then we can jump to the end of the game. Did you feel in that first quarter there was any rest versus rust issues? Did you think that 0 of 10 from 3 in the first quarter was because of that or just playoff nerves?
I thought it was more like we were starting the playoffs again and they were just really excited. I don't feel like it was rust versus rest situation.
I definitely think it was nerves because I think
it was
they
nerves.
just looked like they rushed a lot of shots.
0 for
and they
10
weren't comfortable.
Felt big. But at that point, you're like 0 for 10. We're only down.
We were up 1 at the end of first.
We were up 1,
first,
so it felt
that's a win.
okay. And then we went 7 of 14 in the second, up 10. So.
And go into the third or go into the fourth up 5. And
right.
It's hard to say because when looking at it in total, and especially leading into the last 4 minutes, I don't think Chet played great. I thought he was okay. He was bad at the end. Obviously missed 2 big free throws. Dub, I thought, was having a decent game, and he hit some shots. He was getting downhill at times where, especially in the non-Jokic minutes, he forced Jokic played the final 10 minutes of that game.
Mm-hmm.
And so there were only 2 minutes in that fourth quarter without Jokic. I mean, Jokic played, 42 minutes.
It's a lot of minutes.
It's a nice game.
Grace said he's giving old, and we looked it up. He's I think it might be February 12th is his birthday, your birthday.
Really?
And so he is just a month younger than me or older than me, a month older than me. And Grace is like, he's giving old. I was like, yeah, but he didn't play old tonight. He played
February 19th. He waddles around. that's why he looks old.
And
he's waddling to the free throw line and waddling to 42 points, 22 rebounds, and 6 assists.
I think those rebounds are padded. He looks like Angel Reese out there, where he'll just throw it near the basket, and then everyone sort of bounces off of him, and he has like a wide open layup after that. He's like getting 1 rebound per shot.
Yeah,
it feels like he's very Angel Reese of him.
Yeah, hell of a play. I mean, what he did tonight is what the best player in the world does, and Shea is going to win MVP at some point in this series. Jokic is still the best player, and he proved that tonight.
He didn't even assist. That 3 he hit where he missed a 3 and then came and hit another, hit it. That felt really big. So you want to talk about the end sequence?
Well, let's start with,
okay,
I don't remember specifics, but Thunder up 14 with 4 minutes left. They had hit some good shots. It felt like they had hit a kill shot. And Denver, being the championship team that they are, at least that DNA is there. They're less than 2 years removed. Just kind of kept chipping away at the free throw line. Offensive rebounds. I mean, they had 3 players with 13 or more rebounds. Christian Brown had 13, Gordon had 14, and Jokic had 22.
Those rebounds, that rebounding is a problem and it has to be figured out.
Jokic hit a couple timely threes. Aaron Gordon hit a couple, obviously the big one at the end. But even leading into that, he hit a big 3 or 2. We just didn't execute well.
Right. Mm-hmm.
Even leading into what we're about to talk about, it felt like as soon as Jokic got his 5th foul, the entire offensive game plan, instead of generating good looks, was generating a 6th foul. And by doing that, and I don't know why it came across as this, but you're settling for jump shots. And then even when you're going to the rim, you're kind of falling back. And you're not going with force. It felt like we were trying to shoot everything over him. If you want to get a foul, go into him.
Right.
I don't care if you miss the shot compared to what we were seeing, where you're just kind of weakly, floating the ball up there, hoping the ref. It's the playoffs. As much as I said, I felt like the whistle tonight was very much a regular season whistle. They're not going to call that. Obviously, they didn't. And so that's where I think it sucks. For someone in an entire fan base that's wanting to see Dub take a step and Chet take a step in the playoffs, they weren't assertive in that manner, which would have then dictated how the game ended. Instead of putting it in the refs' hands, wanting them to. I mean, Jokic should have fouled out on Chet's offensive goaltending call if Mark could have challenged that, but they didn't, and that's fine. You just had to then play. The Thunder. I mean, people are like, how is this a 6-point game? We should be up. It was like, we're a 3 away from closing this out. It never came. And then Jokic with 5 fouls in a situation where they're looking to foul at the end, doesn't foul out. They come down 4, and he honestly just kind of sits there, holds the ball, looks around a little bit, pops a 3 to cut it to 1.
Yeah.
And that's when Paycom got really nervous. The nerves spiked.
It was eerie.
At that moment.
It was eerie.
After that, we go down again. It felt like we did not generate a good look. I think, a lot of this is going to be on Mark, and he's already taken blame in the post-game press conference. They go down. They don't take a lead until the last 2 seconds of the game. They never hit a shot. We get the ball, the ball goes back and forth. Russ misses a 3. Caruso bats it around. Gordon gets the rebound, goes up. Dub blocks him. Great play by Dub. Caruso gets the rebound, passes to Shea. We're up 1 with 12 seconds left. Shea goes to the line. Biggest free throws of his career at the time. Nails him. Never doubted him. And it's almost like, we didn't do the loud MVP chants, and it felt like we need to stop doing that during the game. You can do subtle ones, but the loud ones he was not hitting tonight.
Yeah, they were pure. Those free throws were nice. Nice and pure.
Here's where, and Chris, here it comes. The avalanche of just disaster starts from the second Shea makes that second free throw. The game was not over, obviously. The Nuggets had 1 timeout left. We had 2. Denver calls timeout, advances it, passes it into Jokic, and we foul him immediately.
It was like 0.6 seconds came off the clock.
I don't even know if it was that. It felt like it was less than that. And Mark immediately, with the strategy of fouling up 3, which we've seen him do before, subs in Jay, Will, Hartenstein, and Chet. Thinking Denver's going to start implementing the make the first and try to miss the second to generate a tie game. Brilliant move by Denver to just make your dang free throws and then make the Thunder make the free throws to win the game. It obviously worked for him.
Right.
Jokic makes both. We call timeout to advance the ball, as you should. Mark has a fantastic inbounds play, and I think Denver was so worried about fouling that they just let Shea get to the rim. He dunks it.
Part of me thinks Shea should have wasted more time.
Thinking about it now, too, it's like dribble to the corner, use 3 or there was no one around him.
Right.
Use 3 or 4 more seconds and get fouled and go to the free throw line.
Right.
And here's the kicker and why I think it hurts so bad now. Jokic was not on the floor for that.
I know. I cannot believe like that's such situational basketball that sorry.
No,
go ahead.
Your thought process is most Thunder fans right now. Jokic is out because he has 5 fouls, and they don't want to risk him having to foul out to do this. Before we say by doing this, they passed the ball into Aaron Gordon, who's like a guy I'd be like, yeah, foul him. Like, that's great. Caruso fouls him, and we just talked about what happened since Shea's free throws to now, and 2 seconds have come off the clock.
Yeah.
In the entire game. Foul him, go down. Gordon
he makes both of them.
Gordon cashes them because we do the same thing. He makes the first, and we sub in the 3 bigs to get a rebound, thinking that's what Denver's going to do. He made both. Mark calls timeout. We're now out of timeouts, which I'm like, well, crap. Because now, if you need to hit a shot at the end, you can't advance the ball, which does come into play. They run a play again. Chet gets it. He's hit some huge free throws in his career already. He had 3 free throws at the end of a Warriors game to send it to overtime that I remember specifically. No, we ended up winning it in Paycom.
Oh, okay.
Just bricks both. Bricks the first one specifically, leaves it short, it bounces around, falls out. Thunder are up 1. The Nuggets have 9 seconds left to get the ball up the court. Russ dribbles it up, passes over to Aaron Gordon, cashes it, 2.8 seconds left. Dub gets the ball inbounds. He's usually the guy that we want taking the heaves. He shot it with more than a second left on the clock. He had 2.8.
He said, I heard his post-game interview. He said something like, it was just like the moment after that, you're just like, there's like this kind of like deflation, and he was just like, I didn't even think it was going to hit the rim. He was like, I was lucky to hit the back.
He just threw it. He just threw it. Yeah. All in all, there's a lot of stuff that went wrong in this game. But the thing that everyone's going to talk about until game 2 is Mark Daigneault's coaching decisions.
I think it's the rebounding. I don't know. I agree with fouling up 3 in some circumstances. But I don't think you need to do it as soon as the ball comes in.
You don't need to do it. You can do it at 5 seconds or something.
Right, that's what I'm saying.
Make it be the last play.
Right, 100%. I think having to do it twice is crazy.
And then you're putting the pressure on your team. I know you have faith in your guys, but there's then like I leaned over to Alex and I said, if you didn't know the score, you would think the Thunder are losing this game with how this is playing out.
Right.
Like at the current time. Obviously, they ended up losing it anyway. The rebounding was huge. And to give up that many rebounds, again, hats off to Jokic and Gordon and Brown. That can't happen. I mean, the ball didn't bounce our way. I mean, there was one time in the fourth quarter when we were I can't remember the exact score, but we were up at least 4 or 6. Shea misses a shot, and Chet has a perfect put back dunk, and he just loses the ball. It bounces behind him, and they give Denver a timeout to advance it. Another like it didn't bounce our way. I mean, Dub and Chet were not good tonight. I thought Dub was on his way to at least a decent game that you'd be like, all right, build off of that, and we'll see what he's made of in 2, 3, and 4. The ending, he looked soft, and the team obviously didn't execute well, so the team feels soft. Mark, I think, he admitted that he said obviously fouling early was detrimental to the team and was a huge reason why they lost. Because here's the thing too, if this is why I get it if it's later in the clock, but if it's 10, 12 seconds left in the game, you give up a 3, you're tied.
Right.
And you have a timeout in your pocket to go down, and you have a player that you trust in Shea and other players that you trust that have hit big shots before, at least not on that stage, but you'd want to put in that situation to go win the game, or you go to overtime. Jokic has 5 fouls. Not to say they're going to foul him out, but you never know.
It would have taken him killing somebody to foul him out.
Yeah.
He's a smart player too. He was nowhere near the action, whatever.
Correct.
I know it all feels really bad. The walk back was terrible, to the car.
Very morbid.
Very, very quiet. Lots of people hanging their heads. No talking, really. Everything was talking about the last play, how wide we foul, blah, blah, blah. It's only game 1. You want to win game 1. You felt like you wanted to win in Paycom in front of your fans, game 1. You have to fight back and get 1-1. You have to win on Wednesday. And then
it's the biggest game of the season.
You have to go play well in Denver and win one of those.
At minimum.
At minimum, split those. So you're coming back to Paycom for game 5, 2-2, and then it's a 3-game series. And I like the Thunder in that. You have home court back. So,
and you were playing a team that just got out of a 7-game series.
So
which was supposed to be a benefit to tonight.
It
obviously
feels bad, but
it feels bad how they lost. Not necessarily that they lost. It sucks that they lost, period.
Right.
Because this game felt like chalk, dub. Denver's coming off of a 7-game series. Oklahoma City's at home with a long layoff, young team. Should be running and gunning up and down. The line was 9.5, and it was looking like they were going to cover easily, especially with that 14-point lead. So that hurts that you let game 1 at home, give up home court advantage. It slips away. But then doing it in a way that you did not anticipate this Thunder team doing. And it might come back to this is the 3rd game of the entire season. Well, it's been more than that, but the Thunder have only won 2 games by a single possession, by 3 points or less this entire season. They haven't been in this situation a lot because they've killed so many teams. So, you got to take your lumps. We took one last year. If you remember correctly, The Thunder blew out the Mavs in game 1 last year and went on to lose in 6. The series is far from over.
Right.
Far
Still believe
from
in
over.
the team. Still believe in your guys. It does hurt, but they've been a great team all year. It's not like they're going to stop being a great team.
Yeah, and they've responded. They've never. I mean, they started at the end. I think they lost 2 games in a row, or 3 games in a row. But they very rarely have, especially at home. They'll come back on Wednesday. I'm curious to see if there's any adjustments. I think Isaiah Joe's minutes need to tank a little bit if he's not hitting. And Wiggins still feels like he's providing value, but he's going with Joe in the second half over Wiggins. And Joe just was not good tonight, in my opinion. I mean, his plus minus was 0. Wiggins was a plus 19.
Yeah.
It's not a direct number, but
yeah, I think the main adjustment, I thought the one big lineup with Chet at the 5 or Hartenstein at the 5, I thought that was a much better attack plan offensively. And then I like having 2 guys to guard Jokic without getting into foul trouble. I feel like when they're both on the court, they both can get fouls, but if they're playing them switched, you have more time for each of them to guard Jokic.
Mm-hmm.
I thought we played a lot better with the 5, with Chet or Hartenstein at the 5 solo. I don't know how you felt about it.
I don't think either lineup played poorly, but I mean, I think I said earlier before you hopped on, the single big with Chet at the 5 is our best lineup.
Mm-hmm.
And like we're past the experimenting portion of the season. Like it's like, let's play our best lineup. Now, obviously, I don't think you want to, throw all your off speed to try to get them off balance in game 1, but you have to now to go win game 2.
Yeah.
I mean, I remember last year, the advantage goes to the, like after we lost game 2, the advantage goes to the team that lost because they're the ones that get to go in and like think through, try things. Chet said that after one of the games that we had lost because Dallas lost game 1, came back, knew how to attack what we had done. And then you hope you win that game. And the loser then has to adjust to the next game. Because in the playoffs, you never play the same game every single game. That's why the Thunder have felt so not like series proof, matchup proof, because how deep they are in the versatility of each player. You hope they can answer those adjustments and the off speed doesn't throw them off going into baseball. But I don't know. I don't think you like change up the lineup for game 3 in terms of the starters. It feels like that's not something Mark's going to do unless it's dire. I mean, it took him being on the brink of elimination to bench Giddey last year. I just would like to see more Wiggins. Caruso, insane tonight. He played 26 minutes. He was a plus 13. Kaysen was a plus 15. Shea was a minus 16 in a game he had 33, 10, and 8.
Yeah, I don't know. They score. I mean,
they went on their runs with him in it. I mean, again, we've said it before. Plus or minus is kind of a misleading stat, but it does, especially after a game like this, it's a little eye opening to when the runs happened.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, they just got to regroup. I mean, Wednesday becomes must win. I mean, your season's not on the brink, but this team was never going to go 16-0 in these playoffs.
Right.
And as much as it sucks because of how they lost, and it's like, believe me, I'm not going to be in a good mood for the next 48 hours. It's game 1. The Thunder won game 1 last year in the second round, went on to lose in 6. There's a lot of basketball to be played. Save your extreme hot takes for 2 weeks from now if this doesn't go our way. Just hold on.
Right. Wednesday, you got to fight, get to 1-1. I mean, I'll keep saying it like a broken record, and it's a whole new series once you fight and get to 1-1. It's a brand new series right now. Like it's tough in the moment, but it's one game.
It's not like if this series was 2-2 and you had just lost game 5 at home.
That would feel worse.
That's way worse.
Mm-hmm.
If you're going to lose a game at home, you might as well let it be game 1.
Right.
But they have to go take care of business. And if you want this Thunder team to to grow and be the team that we all think and hope that they will be, championship teams take these kinds of losses, but they're championship teams because of how they respond.
Right.
So hold all of your judgments until game 2. Let's see what they do Wednesday night in Paycom. And that might be an optimistic outlook, but it's the one that I think is the right one to
all you got
to
is
think about
optimism at this point.
Yeah, it sucks. Bottom line, tonight sucked. You got to bounce back on Wednesday. Bottom line.
Yep.
All right.
Yep. Got to bounce back.
Well, there's our thoughts. My little solo pod, and then Chris hopping in. Thunder lose game 1. Unfortunately, the Western Conference semifinals, 121-119. They're back at it Wednesday night at the Paycom Center. We'll be back as well to recap, hopefully a bounce back. But regardless, we're thundering up, and we're ready for what lies ahead. But appreciate everybody for listening, and we'll talk to you again on Wednesday. See ya.
All night long, party, party, we like to party, 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 all night long. Party, party, we like to party, 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 never go home. Party, party, we like to party, 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 all night long.